To all the real ones checking in with us right at the beginning of today's show, welcome into Steelers Talk Live here on a beautiful Wednesday. I can't wait to talk some Steelers football with you guys. We got 4 segments coming your way on today's show, right on deck, all right? So Coop is going to get things going here. Mr. Cooper, how are you doing today, my friend?
I am fantastic, and you know why? Because it's a Steelers Talk Wednesday, baby.
That's right,
and
baby.
Nothing gets me more excited throughout the week than talking with the Yinzers and waving the towel. Here we go, Steelers! Here we go! Here we go, Steelers! Here we go! Here we go, Steelers! Here we go!
Let's go, baby. We got some great stuff on deck on today's show. We're going to be going over the latest news and rumors surrounding the black and gold today.
Juicy.
So we got Mel Kiper Jr. just dropped his latest mock draft today. I've got some very interesting takes on the 2 players he has the Steelers taking in round 1 and in round 2. Also, I'll give you guys an update on all the latest wide receiver trade rumors out there, whether the Steelers are going to do it, what they're not going to do, potentially what players they could be potentially targeting as well. Then we'll get into my seventh. I mean, it's crazy that we're already up to 7. 7-round mock draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I got some pretty interesting picks here.
Will we make it to 10?
I don't think we will. I think we'll get to 9.
We'll get to 9.
I think my final one will be 9.0. But today we'll get into my next mock draft. We also have the live mailbag coming up. Make sure you guys use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get on the show. And then also we got day 2 draft targets I'm going to be breaking down today. Round 2, round 3, breaking down tackles, centers, corners, wide receivers, defensive tackles, and safeties today. All the top guys that are going to be available on day 2 that the Steelers should target. So make sure you guys get down there right now, hashtag Steelers or Super Chat, to get your question, your comment, whatever you want, to get it on today's mailbag. We already got a $10 Super Chat from my man Damian Roy. Says, happy hump day, y'all. Let's get this chat started. Steelers Nation. And you know what? Let's give Damian Roy a little towel wave here.
Here we go, Steelers.
Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. And another Gold Club member here, Hot Rod 24, coming in with a $2 super chat. What's up, Hot Rod? Says, what's up, Coop and Sperry? Any late round gems? Well, I don't know about you, Coop, but I'm going to be revealing a brand new late round sleeper gem at the wide receiver position in my new mock draft today. I can't wait to break that down for you.
I hadn't heard of him until you were talking about him with me earlier, and I was like, okay, we'll see what the hype is about. I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder. I'm not going to talk about the guy that you're talking about today, but the guy that you love, Garrett Greenfield.
I love Garrett Greenfield.
That's your guy, man. I'm excited about him, and in the 6th round, if he's available, are you taking him? Is that early?
Might be a little early.
Might be a little early.
I actually don't know, man, because he's got good tape. He has excellent movement ability, and he's got pretty decent size, good footwork, and all these different things. He needs to work on his play strength just a little bit. But I think he's probably going to go day 3. But, man, I think he's somebody that can develop into potentially a starting tackle in the league. And you just don't get those on day 3 very often. So I love Garrett Greenfield out of South Dakota State. Keep your eye on him. I think he's going to be drafted somewhere in this year's NFL draft. So let's talk wide receiver rumors here, because there was a report today from the Washington Post that said that the Steelers are still very much pushing to get a trade for a star wide receiver here, Coop. And whether that's Terry McLaurin, whether that's Justin Jefferson, whether that's somebody else, it looks like the con artist is trying to cook something up nice for us here before the NFL draft. And you know what? I would love to get Brandon Ayuk, okay? Obviously, the 49ers are potentially going to unload him here. And this is the trade idea that I would propose to the 49ers. Pick swaps in the first 2 rounds, so you'd go from number 20 to number 31 in the first, And from number 51 to 63 in the second, then you also give the 49ers your first third-round pick this year, number 84, and you get Brandon Ayuk to put on the other side of George Pickens and give Russell Wilson another bona fide weapon on the other side of the offense. I think this would be a good trade for both sides. It checks out with the trade chart that the NFL uses, so I think this is something that Omar Khan could absolutely land here, and I'd love to see Brandon Ayuk in the black and gold. What do you think, Coop?
Brandon Ayuk in the black and gold would be awesome. Just imagine him on the opposite side of George Pickens in this offense, catching balls from Russell Wilson, I think this would be a great addition to the Steelers offense. It would make the Steelers one of the best teams in the AFC, plain and simple.
Yeah, I think they're already in a good spot here. I mean, based on where they are right now, it looks like they'd probably draft a wide receiver in either round 2 or round 3 to put on the other side of George. But if they can land this trade here, you can take away one of those big needs at wide receiver. And even though you're giving up a draft pick there in round 3, you're also taking care of one of your needs. So I think right now the Steelers have 4 main needs: offensive tackle, center, cornerback, and wide receiver. Those have to be the first 4 picks of the draft, in my opinion.
If you take away one of those needs, you can allocate resources elsewhere.
Exactly. So if you give away this third-round pick, you take care of this need here with Brandon Ayuk, then you can take care of center at number 31 overall, or tackle at that spot. You can take care of the other offensive line spot at 63. You still have another third-round pick to use on a corner. So I think this trade not only fills the need at wide receiver, but also allows the Steelers to fill the other roster needs on their roster right now. And let's face it, guys, Brandon Ayuk is an all-pro wide receiver. He's a good run blocker. You have to be in that Shanahan system there with the 49ers. Excellent route runner. I mean, we talk about Deontay Johnson being a great route runner. I think Brandon Ayuk is probably top 3 in football right now when it comes to true artistry at the route running category there. I would absolutely love to see Brandon Ayuk in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform. Let us know what you guys would do down there in the comment section. A for accept or D for decline. I see Tamsin says he would decline it. Steve says do it. We got Daryl saying accept. JR is saying accept. Maryland would take it. Offsides Edits would accept it. Tamsin really doesn't like it. He is spamming declined.
Wow.
I mean, I'm guessing he probably wants a wide receiver in the draft instead of Brandon Ayuk, because I think this is a pretty fair deal for both sides personally. But here's a $5 super chat from Mr. Damian Roy, his second one of the day already. Says the invitation to see Steelers at FedEx Field is still open. Come on out to Landover, Maryland.
We'd love to.
I got you and Coop. We appreciate you, Damian. We really do, man. But we're going to be doing all of our watch parties from the studio here like we did last year.
That'd be fun, though.
I would love to go to FedEx Field and watch the Steelers play, or even just go to an NFL game with the Commanders, whoever they're playing that week. But at the end of the day, man, part of the job here is that you do these watch parties here in studio. So we appreciate the offer, Damian. Maybe we can hook Cassie up with some tickets. How about that?
That would be fun.
That'd be a lot of fun for Cassie if that offer extends to her as well. So today's Super Chat menu, guys. Any Super Chat, you're going to get on the show. You're going to get on the mailbag. You're going to have your question on this week's Q&A. $10 today, you're going to get shots. We got Patron here. I got fake tequila here because I don't drink, as you guys know. $20, you get your name on the Helmet Hall of Fame that we're doing this offseason. Starting to fill up, I will say that, guys. So if you want your name on the helmet, $20 Super Chat, and you get on the helmet. And then we got $50 today. Tortilla Slaps are back, baby. We've got the tortillas right here.
Brought 'em back.
If you want me to slap Coop, or if you want Coop to slap me, $50 Super Chats, and we'll get the slaps going for you, all right? And then $100 total. Steelers Talk Gold Club. And that's a lifetime membership. You get a shout-out on every show. You get a nice Super Chat sticker next to your Super Chats for life. Really do appreciate all of our Gold Club members. And today we're actually doing a special promotion, Coop. Where today's Super Chat MVP, so the person that puts in the most in Super Chats on today's stream is going to be able to choose a topic for a segment that we do on next week's Steelers Talk live show. Whatever you want to talk about, That's what we will talk about right here on the show live for you. So whoever puts in the most super chats today is going to be the one that gets to pick that segment for next week. Right now, the person in the lead is Mr. Damian Roy himself with $15. All right, so a $20 super chat right now not only gets your name on the helmet, but it puts you in the lead to be today's MVP. All right, so let's get that going right now. Really love things to get going. But first, I got to give a shout out to all of our Gold Club members. We have so many Gold Club members. We're just going to roll across the graphic right here. I really do appreciate everybody that has donated $100 or more on a single stream. You guys are the lifeblood of this channel. You guys make this channel go. And without you guys, we would not be able to talk about Steelers football every single day for free right here on YouTube. So we really do appreciate all of our Gold Club members, man. I just can't say enough about this community, what it has turned into over these last 2 years. It really is awesome to see, and to see it grow over the last several years has been fantastic. And I want to give a special shout out here to our Black Diamonds here. These are the people that have put in $500 or more on a single stream. These are the legends of Steelers talk right here, man. Sam Pugh, F1 Video Watcher, Nathan Glass, Kurgan Cold, Go Blue Buckeye, Elliptic 6, Gwendolyn, Marilyn Krieger. I saw Marilyn in the chat earlier, so shout out to Marilyn. We got Omar's Burner, Kyle King, and KJ Live Life. These guys are just the absolute legends of Steelers talk. It's kind of crazy that we've already gotten 11 of these guys. So it's going to continue to grow here throughout the offseason. And if you want to become a Black Diamond member today, $500 on today's stream, and you'll get to be today's MVP. If you put in a $500 super chat, you're automatically the MVP. I'll say that right now. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. Make sure you get that thumbs up icon going. We got 28 likes. Over 230 people are watching live around the world right now. We need to get
to like 70 likes.
Let's get to, I'm going to say 50. Let's get to 50 likes before we get into our first segment today. I'm going to be talking about Mel Kiper Jr.'s latest mock draft. We'll be going over the latest Steelers wide receiver trade rumors, whether I think it's actually going to happen or not. And then also Dan Moore Jr.'s offensive line coach says that he's having a stellar offseason. Should the Steelers keep him as a starter?
Should we believe him?
I don't know, man. We're going to talk about it, though. We're going to be talking about it in just about 5 minutes here, maybe less than that. Make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. 232 people watching. We got 43 likes. We need 7 more to get into this first segment here. I'm also going to be going over my latest Steelers mock draft. 7 rounds today. Some pretty interesting picks there. The person I'm taking in round 1 today, Coop, I'm switching it up, all right? I have not taken this player in round 1 in any of my previous mocks, all right?
Is that true?
It is true.
Wow.
So this is a brand new kind of setup that I'm doing with the mock draft today. Also, make sure you use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to make sure you get on the mailbag today. It's your one chance per week to have your voice heard right here on the channel. And all it takes is hashtag Steelers along with your question in the chat or Super Chat to guarantee your spot on the show.
Also, I just wanted to say this. If for some crazy reason Brandon Ayuk or Justin Jefferson are traded to the Steelers, we will be live on the channel for a long time.
Yes, we will. If they trade for Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, somebody else, we're going to be going live. I mean, if they sign Justin Simmons, who the rumor is, could be coming to the Steelers here, that's definitely going to be a live show as well. So I think Omar has some stuff up his sleeve here in the coming weeks leading up to the draft. I can't wait to see what he's got going for us here. He hasn't disappointed so far.
He is not.
There's still some things that need to be done, though, and I have all the faith in the world that Omar is going to get the job done here this offseason, and we're going to have an awesome 2024 campaign. We got to 65 likes. Appreciate. Oh, a $10 super chat from Just Webb's World here. What's up, Just Webb's World? He gets his spot on the mailbag this week. He says, is it wrong that I want us to trade up and have 2 seconds or 2 first rounds because whoever you want will be there, but only so many guys will be there at 51? Was thinking we trade up into the high 30s. I wouldn't be against that. The only thing is, though, Just Webb's World, you have 4 pretty big needs on your team right now.
Yes.
And you have 4 picks within the first 3 rounds, which is usually where you can expect to get year one starters, right? So those first 4 picks, it's going to have to be used on a cornerback, a wide receiver, a center, and an offensive tackle. If you trade up, you're going to have less picks, all right? And that means that one of those needs or more is not going to be addressed, all right? So things change if they trade for a wide receiver and that's no longer like a pressing need anymore, or if they sign a tackle, or if they sign a center, or if they sign a corner, maybe a trade up in round 2 makes some sense there. But honestly, right now, if they don't make any other moves, I'm not sure how much sense it makes to move up in round 2, even though I would probably do it, Coop. I mean, if Jackson Powers Johnson is there at like pick number 40.
But my guess is if you're going to be trading up into the high 30s, early 40s, you're not keeping that 51 overall pick, right?
No, you're giving up 51.
You're giving that up.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're giving up next year's second, which I don't think is a good idea.
No.
It's usually not a good idea to be throwing those around. So personally, guys, I don't think right now a trade-up is in the cards. I could be wrong on that. We did go over some draft trade ideas yesterday. So if you want to check that out, it's on the channel right now. I give you guys 7 trade ideas that I like when it comes to draft trades. Some potential possibilities there. But right now, given the needs that are on the team right now, you have 4 big needs and 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. The symmetry there, it lines up. I'm not sure if a trade up really makes a ton of sense for the Steelers at this point in time. Unless you trade up and then trade down, which is possible. I mean, that's what the Steelers did last year, right? They traded up for Broderick, and then they traded down, I believe, in the second round to get an additional pick, and that ended up being Darnell Washington.
Correct.
So it's very possible that they trade up and then trade back down, but unless that's the case, I'm not sure if they're going to just simply trade up, if that makes any sense. All right, Cooper, are we ready to get into this first segment here?
Yep, one moment. Just need to grab something real quick.
All right, man. We got 280 people watching, a good crowd today on a Wednesday evening. Let's get into this first segment right now, the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today we have a loaded show of Steelers news and rumors to cover with you today. First up on the show, I'm going to be going over the latest mock draft from ESPN NFL Draft Insider and analyst Mel Kiper Jr. It's a 2-round mock draft, so he has the Steelers taking 2 players. I'll give you my scouting report and my take on both of the guys Mel has the Steelers taking. Then we'll also go into the latest Steelers wide receiver trade rumors surrounding guys like Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, and more. I'll let you know if I actually think the Steelers will end up trading for a wide receiver, and then we'll finish up today's show talking about Dan Moore Jr., who's apparently having a stellar offseason and may even have the chance to be the starting left tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers once again in 2024. But I'm a little bit skeptical of that, so make sure to stick around here for my take on that. But if you want more content from me, Steelers content, NFL draft content, NFL content in general, you can find me on X at Jack_Sperry and at SpareDog.football on Instagram. So if you enjoy yourself today, if you love the channel, if you love the Pittsburgh Steelers, you want daily updates when it comes to the NFL draft and the Steelers, make sure you give me a follow at Jack_Sperry on X or at SpareDog.football on Instagram. So now let's get into this reaction for Mel Kiper Jr.'s 3rd mock draft of the draft season this year. He claims it's his last one. It's a 2-round mock draft. So let's get into it right now with who he has the Steelers taking at number 20, and it is Duke offensive lineman Graham Barton. Now, we've talked about GB on the show quite a bit here over the last 2 weeks or so. I'm a big fan of his, and this is what Mel Kiper Jr. has to say about Barton to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cornerback, wide receiver, center. I wouldn't be surprised with any of these positions for Pittsburgh, which has made a few intriguing additions this offseason. The Steelers parted ways with starting pivot Mason Cole, and taking Barton, my top-ranked center, might even be an upgrade. Barton played center as a freshman, but spent the past 3 seasons at left tackle for the Blue Devils, and I see his pro future along the interior. He allowed just 3 sacks over the past 2 seasons. Now, when I first read this, I was like, he might be an upgrade at center over Mason Cole. Have you watched Mason Cole play over the last 12 months, Mel Kiper Jr.? Because this is clearly a day 1 upgrade if you get Graham Barton in round 1, in my opinion. You look at my scouting report on Barton here. I do have a round 1 grade on him, partly because of the positional versatility. He can play, he's one of those rare offensive linemen that can play all 5 positions, from left tackle all the way to right tackle. He can play all of them at a pretty darn high level. Now, the arm length isn't exactly what you want to see, so I don't think left tackle or right tackle is going to be his best fit. I do think he's going to be more of an interior offensive lineman, but he's got the mentality that you look for. He's got great athleticism and power. He plays with good technique. Now, he can be a little bit off balance at times, like his mentality. He just wants to run somebody over so much sometimes. Sometimes his head can get over his feet and he gets off balance, especially as a run blocker. But, I mean, listen, man, this guy's a dog that can be teached out of him. I think that that's something that is actually a benefit to Graham Barton, because he has the mentality that you look for, and I think he's going to be one hell of a pro. Now, personally, guys, I would rather go offensive tackle here. Tackle is a more high-value position. I think there's going to be a lot of good potential prospects here for the Steelers sitting at number 20, because it's such a deep offensive tackle class. If Amarius Mims or Talise Fuanga is here, I think that's probably going to be the pick. Troy Fontenot out of Washington is another good option if he falls to number 20. I'm pretty sure one of those top tackles is going to be available at 20 for the Steelers. So if it's a choice between a future center and Graham Barton or the offensive tackle, I'm probably going to go with the tackle. But man, if they end up taking Barton, he's a damn good player, so I wouldn't complain about it too much. Now let me know down there in the comments section, would you be happy if the Pittsburgh Steelers took Graham Barton in round 1 of the 2024 NFL Draft? Type H if you'd be happy about it, or type M if you'd be mad. Let me know down there in the comments section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Then in round 2, Mel has the Steelers taking wide receiver out of Washington, Jalen McMillan. Now, personally, guys, I'm a little bit lower on McMillan than Mel is, but let's see what he has to say about the Washington wide receiver before I give my take. George Pickens is the Steelers' clear number 1 wideout, and Deontay Johnson traded to Carolina. But who's their number 2? Van Jefferson? I'm not sold. If they can add a difference maker in round 2, Russell Wilson would have a really solid group of pass catchers. McMillan was overshadowed by Rome Odunze at Washington, but he's a dynamic slot receiver. He missed a few games with injury last year, but he had over 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2022. Now, personally, guys, I do not love this pick. Like Mel said, he did have a little bit of an injury issue last year, and honestly, when I watch McMillan on tape, I think that he has a very definable and very boxed-in profile here, where he has to go to the right fit, and I'm not sure if that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he's a slot-only guy who's not going to be very good in the contested catch situations. He's not very physical at the catch point, and if there's any kind of physicality within the route there between him and the cornerback, he's usually losing it. Now, he does have legit speed. Now, I wouldn't say it's burner type speed. It's in the 4.4s, not in the 4.3 or in the 4.2s. So it's not like elite speed. It's good speed. And then the route running is pretty darn good, especially on double moves. But I see him more as a true deep threat from the slot. He's kind of slight as well, so he's not going to be a great run blocker. Not sure if that fits with what Arthur Smith wants in a wide receiver. So right now I have a late round 3, early round 4 grade on Jalen McMillan. I think that with the right fit, he could be a decent piece in the slot for somebody. But for the Pittsburgh Steelers that are looking for a true number 2 wide receiver, especially in round 2, I do not think that this is the right pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 51. I mean, probably Roman Wilson might be here at number 51. Malachi Corley. There's a lot of different good wide receiver options that are going to be available on day 2 in the National Football League draft this year, and I just don't think Jalen McMillan is going to be the best wide receiver available for you to take when your pick comes up at number 51. Now, coming up here, my latest wide receiver trade rumors to discuss today. Apparently, the Steelers are still trying pretty darn hard to trade for a star wide receiver, so we'll break that down here in just a second. But before I get into that, I want to talk about today's sponsor at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. Guys, I'm somebody that loves to get tickets last minute. I'm not somebody that gets tickets like 2-3 weeks in advance. No way, man. I'm just going to be sitting here at my office here at Chat Sports. I'll pull out my Game Time app on my phone, and I'll find some tickets on the Game Time app with their super easy-to-use interface, and I know, I have the peace of mind of knowing they have the lowest price guarantee out of any ticketing app out there, and they have flash deals right before the event, so I get even better ticket prices the closer I wait to the event. So whether that's a concert with my girlfriend Cassie, whether that's an NBA basketball game with my boy Coop, whether that be an MLB baseball game just by myself because I love watching baseball live, I can go on the Game Time app and I have the peace of mind of knowing that it's going to be the lowest price guarantee and it's going to be a super convenient experience. Game Time is the fastest growing ticketing app in the U.S. for a reason and is the only ticketing app on the market that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive at the arena or stadium. And tickets are also sent directly to your phone instead of your email, which is yet another convenient tool that Game Time deploys for you. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps. It's right down there in the bottom right of your screen for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So according to the Washington Post, the Pittsburgh Steelers are still very active trying to trade for a big-name wide receiver to put on the other side of George Pickens before the start of the 2024 NFL Draft. And when it comes to wide receivers and wide receiver trade targets, two names really stick out to me. There's one name that I think is definitely the most likely guy that they're targeting right now. And if a deal gets done, I think it's going to be for last year's second-team All-Pro wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk, currently with the San Francisco 49ers. Right now, Ayuk and the Niners are far apart on contract negotiations, and the Niners have reportedly been shopping him before the 2024 NFL Draft. Obviously, the Steelers are in the market for another wide receiver. So if you're looking for somebody where it's going to be a most likely trade target here, it's going to be Brandon Ayuk because it lines up with the Steelers, what they want, and the San Francisco 49ers, what they want. I actually put out a trade idea between the Niners and the Steelers here with a couple of pick swaps here where first and second round picks, you swap them for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the 49ers. You give them the third round pick that you have this year at number 84, and you get Brandon Ayuk. So you still have 3 picks in the first 3 rounds, and you alleviate one of the big team needs on this roster right now by adding an all-pro wide receiver in Brandon Ayuk on the other side of George Pickens, who we all know is an all-world talent. But if you're looking for a dark horse here, and if you're looking for a giant splash that the con artist could pull off, it's Justin Jefferson, all right? Now, I'm not saying that this is likely. I think that the more likely option, like I said, is Brandon Ayuk. But Justin Jefferson has been linked to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Minnesota Vikings have apparently been shopping him around a little bit to kind of test the waters in terms of what a trade package would look like. So you look at what it's probably going to cost to get Jefferson, who is an all-world caliber talent. Some people believe he's the best receiver in football. It's going to take 2 first-round picks. It's going to take number 20 this year and your first-rounder next year, plus the first third-rounder that you have this year, number 84. Along with this, too, you're going to have to pay him a record-setting contract for a wide receiver, all right? So he is going to be extremely pricey if the Steelers end up making this move. But if you're really going all in and you're trying to win a Super Bowl right now, Justin Jefferson probably gets the most juice out of that squeeze, and he is definitely a budding star in this league. And listen, man, I know ESPN, probably not the most reliable source out there, but they called the Stephon Diggs trade to Houston. They called Russell Wilson and Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they said, and ESPN said a couple weeks ago that the Steelers and Vikings are both working together on a Justin Jefferson trade. So even though take this with a grain of salt, I do think that it's possible that the Steelers and Vikings have had some sort of conversations, and even though I don't think it's going to happen, guys, just keep your eye on Justin Jefferson as a potential wide receiver trade target for the Steelers. And when it comes to a wide receiver trade, I do think Omar Khan is going to get something done before the start of the 2024 NFL Draft. Now, let me know down there in the comments section, between these two trade ideas, which one would you rather do? Would you rather pay more for Justin Jefferson, or would you rather pay maybe a little bit less for Brandon Ayuk, who is still an all-pro caliber wide receiver? Type A if you'd like to do the Ayuk deal, or type J if you'd rather do the Justin Jefferson deal. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. So the final story today, let's talk about Dan Moore Jr., who, of course, has been the starting left tackle here in Pittsburgh for a little while now. Hasn't played all too well, especially compared to other left tackles in the National Football League. But Duke Manyweather, his offensive line coach, his personal offensive line coach, well-renowned around the world, is probably the best offensive line coach in the world today, says that he is having a stellar offseason and he looks the best he ever has, and he's ready to go in 2024. This is what Manyweather had to say about him. Every year, people are looking to replace him, talking about Moore Jr., but there's something to be said about the way Dan goes about his business, the way he prepares, and the way he's gotten better every single year. I think the coaching staff and I think the front office respects that. There's a lot more good and average baseline in the NFL than there is elite. You can make the argument that Dan Moore has kind of exceeded expectation for where he was drafted in round 4. I'm excited to see it because I think this offseason so far, it's been his best. Really mature in terms of the way his body's looking right now. He's always worked really hard, but I just see a different sense of urgency in the way he moves, and just like some of the grown man strength is coming. So listen, man, I just don't think you can trust Dan Moore Jr. with another year as the starting left tackle of this football team. I mean, they drafted Broderick Jones to replace him last year, and, you know, it's not like he had a stellar season in 2023 either. I mean, it was the career low for him in the Pro Football Focus grade department here. He was the 63rd overall ranked offensive tackle in football with a 54.3. Which was a dip from 2022, and we all know Dan Moore Jr. wasn't all that good back in 2022 either. So you take a look at his numbers from last year and kind of the splits between pass block grade and run block grade. He's a little bit better as a run blocker here at 60.4, but that pass block grade, man, it is brutal at 42.1. That's 78th out of 81 eligible offensive tackles in football. So listen, man, I like Moore. I think he's a hard worker. I think he deserves a spot on this roster as a swing tackle with experience that could come in on either the left or right side and give you some reps if somebody gets hurt. But to trust him with another season as a starting offensive tackle, I think would be malpractice from the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that is trying to win now. You need to protect Russell Wilson. He's somebody that, especially on third downs, loves to hold on to the football for long periods of time. You need an offensive tackle on both sides of the formation that is going to be able to protect Russ so that he can do his thing. And I just don't think Dan Moore Jr., with his history, I don't care what his offensive line coach, who, by the way, is getting paid by Dan Moore Jr., I don't care what that guy says to the media in a podcast, all right? What I care about is the production on the field. It just hasn't been there for Dan Moore Jr., so Omar Khan, draft a tackle in round 1. But let me know down there in the comments section what you think about DMJ. Should they give him one more chance to start this season at offensive tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Give me a yes or no. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comments section. Another reminder here, if you want more content from me, I'm at Jack_Sperry on X and at SpareDog.football on Instagram. And that is going to be it for today's show, guys. I really do appreciate all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now if you haven't already for premium Steelers content for free every single day right here on YouTube. All right, first segment out of the way.
Dan Moore Jr.
Dan Moore Jr.
You can't start him next year, I don't think, personally.
That's what, yeah, I completely agree. He's a good backup.
He's good.
He is a good swing tackle, especially for what they're paying him. They're paying him nothing.
And that has value in the NFL, by the way.
Absolutely. And listen, he was drafted for a reason. He's got some decent tools, all these different things. But the Steelers are trying to win now. And they're trying to make their identity the run game. So you need guys that are dominant up front. I mean, Dan Moore Jr. has been okay as a run blocker, but he hasn't been dominant. And then as a pass protector, he's been awful throughout his career. So, listen, heading into his 4th year in the league, is it possible that he gets better? Absolutely. But do I expect him to take that giant leap forward where he's a franchise left tackle capable of being here for the next 5-6 years? No way. No way. Okay, so if you're Omar Khan and you have Talise Fuanga in your sights at number 20, if you have Amarius Mims in your sights at number 20, if you have Troy Fontenot out of Washington in your sights at 20, take one of those guys, all right? Because Dan Moore Jr. is just an okay backup, all right? That's what he is. And do I believe Duke Manyweather that he's having a good offseason?
Sure.
Like, I know for a fact that he works hard, all right? And that's something that you want in your locker room.
He's also on Dan Moore Jr.'s payroll, though.
Exactly. Like, he's getting paid by this guy. So it's like, I don't know how much you can really believe. I mean, as much. Here's the thing, though. Manyweather is legit, all right? He is the best offensive line coach on the planet. You got to give him his props there. But you can't ignore the fact that Dan Moore Jr. is paying him.
Yeah, I mean, that has.
And it's like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I can't completely trust the things that you're saying, especially when the product on the field for him is just not where it should be. You know?
Exactly.
So, like, keep him as a swing tackle. All right, people wanted to cut him at the beginning of the offseason. I was like, no.
No, you don't need to cut
him. He's a young player. You're not paying him anything. He has experience in this league as a swing tackle, as a backup to come in for somebody that gets injured. Absolutely. That's great offensive line depth. But you need to get a new starter, and you need to get a new starter for week 1 in 2024. I think in order to do that, you have to spend your first-round pick on an offensive tackle. And then if somebody gets hurt, if God forbid the rookie or Broderick Jones gets hurt during the season, then you can put Dan Moore Jr. in there so that he can prove himself. But you can't trust another season with this guy. He's had 3 years to prove himself. He hasn't done it yet. I don't care how good of an offseason he's having. He's going to be the backup tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers next year, in my opinion.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
All right, man. So make sure you guys get your questions in right now. #Steelers or Super Chat to get on the show. I will say right now, who is the leader for our Super Chat MVP?
It is Mr. Damian Roy.
So Damian Roy with
15.
Okay, so a $20 Super Chat puts you in the lead. Can we put that player L3 up?
Yeah.
So today's Super Chat promotion is that the person that spends the most today is going to be able to pick a segment that we do live on the show next week. All right, so whatever you want us to talk about, we'll talk about it, and we'll put it up on the channel. All right, so really do appreciate you guys. Right now, Damian Roy is in the lead with 15. And you know what? Let's talk a little bit here, Coop. Steelers did sign a kicker today. So, I mean,
wow.
A backup kicker. I mean, great. You know, that's fantastic. I mean, Matthew Wright has been here multiple times. He's been cut multiple times.
Boz is the kicker of this team.
Boz is the kicker here, man. Like, plain and simple. We didn't even put out a short to.
There was no reason to.
There's just no reason to really announce that he was going to be, that he was signed. Because pretty much he's going to, unless Boz has, like, gets in a car crash or, like, God forbid, like, something bad happens to him.
Knock on wood.
Boz is going to be the kicker of this football team. And Matthew Wright will be cut yet again by the Pittsburgh Steelers. But, you know, Matthew Wright, good guy. You know, he's going to be coming in here as a backup kicker to come in during the preseason.
Also, at least they upgraded on that stiff Presley Harvin. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, Presley Harvin can go kick rocks, man. That's all I can say.
We'll see you, buddy.
So,
him and Chase Claypool can go join each other in Canada.
I see Tamsin Hurd has a really good question down there in the chat. Tamsin, I see your question. Use #Steelers and put that same exact question so that we can put it on the mailbag.
Yes.
Because I want to talk about him today. All right? So I appreciate the question. I haven't seen Tamsin in here before, so I think he's new. So use #Steelers along with your question or super chat to get on the show. All right? Appreciate you, man. Okay. Now, do we have enough questions?
Plenty.
We have plenty of questions. Perfect. All right. So we got 257 people watching. We're 2 likes away from 100. Can we get to 100 likes here, please? Can 2 more people click that thumbs up icon for me? Help us out. Help the stream. We appreciate you. And I'll say this right now: we're not getting into this mailbag until we get to 100 likes.
So you better like the video.
As much as I love talking to Coop here, you know, we got 4 segments to do today. We better get things going. All right, we got there. Let's get there right now. Steelers Talk mailbag. Can't wait to talk Steelers with you guys here. Get your voice heard on the show. And while we're doing the show, by the way, you can still put in #Steelers or Super Chat. Coop will see it, and he will put it on the show, all right? So if you have a question in the middle of the mailbag, put the question in the chat, all right? There's still a chance that it can get in there. All right, let's get into it right now. The Steelers Talk live Q&A portion of the show is coming at you right now. The NFL draft gets closer by the day, and today I'm going to be answering your questions on the black and gold here. I'm sure I'm going to get some questions on the draft, maybe some trade rumors stuff, all these different things. I love these mailbags every single week because it gives you guys a chance to have your voice heard right here on Steelers Talk. And based on everything you guys give to me, I wanted to give a little bit back here. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now to join the most interactive Steelers community right here on YouTube. We have watch parties live for every single Steelers game during the regular season, preseason, and postseason, by the way. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now because we have weekly live shows, all these different things where you can have your voice heard on these mailbags every week. So I'll pause and open it up for questions here, starting with Scott Gilbert. Says, I would get an offensive tackle at 20. Let me know what you think. I agree. I think right now, offensive tackle every year. If you're in need of a tackle, if you want to get one, you probably got to get one in round 1. Now, this year, you could probably get a pretty decent one in round 2, but because the Steelers are on the back end of round 2, I'm not willing to roll the dice, all right? So you're sitting at 20. If Talise Fuanga, Amarius Mims, Troy Fontenot out of Washington is there, I'm pulling the trigger on offensive tackle. You can get a good wide receiver on day 2. You can get a good cornerback on day 2. You can even get a good center on day 2 of the draft this year. At pick number 51, what kind of caliber offensive tackle are you getting? I think I'd be praying that Blake Fisher from Notre Dame gets to me, and I don't want to be put in that situation. So I'd rather go offensive tackle. I'm sure the Steelers are going to have a list of tackles that they like at that spot, and if one of them is there, they're going to take the best guy on their board. Plain and simply, expect offensive tackle to be the pick at 20. Then we got one from Brock Walker. Says, should we not pursue a slot cornerback and instead give someone like Darius Rush or Corey Trice Jr. a chance to be at slot? I honestly don't think either one of those guys is particularly fit to play in the slot. They're both bigger guys. The short area quicks isn't exactly what you want it to be for an inside corner. And those guys are known more as like bigger, longer, outside cornerback type. So if anything, they would move Dante Jackson, who's smaller, great short area quicks. They'd move a guy like that into the slot. But even with both of these guys, Darius Rush barely played last year. So it's like, do they really trust him to be a full-blown starter heading into 2024? And then Corey Trice Jr., of course, missed pretty much the entire season. Even preseason with that ACL tear that he had at the beginning of training camp last year. So do you really trust him to get things going? I certainly don't. I think you got to take a corner by day 2 of the draft, at the very least in round 4. Then we got one from Scatter to West, right tight. And he says, what will it cost to trade for Justin Jefferson? Well, so I was actually talking with our Vikings host here at Chat Sports about it. He thinks it's going to cost 2 first-rounders and a 3rd-round pick. All right, so to kind of visualize it here, this is probably what it would cost: 2 first-rounders, number 20 this year, and a 1st-rounder next year, and number 84 this year, to get Justin Jefferson. Plus, you have to pay Justin a massive record-breaking contract for a wide receiver because that's what he's asking for. All right, so that's over $30 million per season on his next contract. And it's probably going to get close to 35. So that's like quarterback money for your number 1 receiver. So not only is that a lot in terms of draft capital, that is a lot in terms of salary compensation. But listen, man, some people would argue it's worth it. I mean, Justin Jefferson is arguably the best receiver in football. If you're trying to win a Super Bowl right now and you want a big-time star receiver, you can make an argument Jefferson is the best guy to get that done. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. If you were Omar Khan and the Vikings offered you this trade to bring Justin Jefferson to the Steel City, are you accepting it or are you declining it? Type A for accept or D for decline for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. We got a $10 super chat from Just Webb's World, and he says, is it wrong that I want us to trade up and have 2 seconds or 2 first rounds? Because whoever you want will be there, but only so many guys will be there at 51. Was thinking we trade up into the high 30s. So I'd say Just Webb's World, if there's 2 scenarios where I could see this happening. All right, number 1, you trade for a receiver or you sign a corner or something like that that alleviates one of the major needs on your team. Because right now the Steelers have needs at offensive tackle, center, cornerback, and wide receiver. And you absolutely need to address those needs in the draft. And right now, you've got exactly 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, which is where you can expect to get first-year starters. So if you trade up, then you're going to have to completely ignore one of these big needs on your roster, and that's not something I'm willing to do. So the first one is alleviate one of those needs in free agency or via trade so that you can move up then, or trade up and then trade back down like Omar Khan did last year. He traded up for Broderick Jones, then in round 2, traded down a couple of spots and got an additional 3rd-round pick. That's certainly possible as well for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if they do that, then fine. But I would be very much against trading up and not trading back down if I were the Steelers, because I don't want to leave any of these major needs on the roster unaddressed. Then we got Joe L. here. He says, how can the Steelers get Jackson Powers-Johnson and Amarius Mims with their first 2 picks? So I'd say you got to take Mims at 20. I think he's an awesome prospect. And then with Powers-Johnson, the rumors are that he's starting to fall down boards because of a concussion issue that he has, right? He's had a couple of concussions there at Oregon. He's had a couple of different injuries. So people are worried about his availability, especially if you're a center and you get your head hit on every play and you have a concussion issue. That is a huge red flag. So that's why he's falling down boards right now. So I think the Steelers could potentially trade up in round 2, maybe like pick number 47 with the Giants. They're a team that might trade down, trade up a couple spots. If Jackson Powers-Johnson is still there, that's absolutely a move that I would make if I were the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, before we get into the rest of this week's questions on the mailbag, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at Fanatics, because they have brand new, officially licensed Justin Fields number 2 Steelers jerseys available for you guys to purchase right now when you go to chatsports.com/Fields. I mean, this guy is the king of aura. Lots of people believe he is the next starting quarterback, franchise quarterback of this football team for the years to come. And if you are somebody that believes that, put your money where your mouth is right now and get his jersey as a long-term investment. You can go to chatsports.com/Fields to get your Justin Fields jersey in your closet just in time for the 2024 season. Oh, my man Nathan Glass is here. We got a black diamond. What's up, Mr. Glass? Good to see you, my friend. Says, move James Daniels to center and start Spencer Anderson at guard. Your thoughts? I don't like Spencer Anderson to start in this league, personally. I like him as like a depth piece, but I just don't really love that, especially because James is so good at guard. I don't want to mess with that, right? So I would rather get a rookie in round 2 to play center, whether that be Jackson Powers-Johnson, whether that be Zach Frazier, whether that be Cedric Van Pran. One of those guys is going to be available for you in round 2. Can pretty much guarantee that. You can keep Daniels at right guard, Sayamalo at left guard, and then you plug in the rookie to start year 1. That's what I would do. Spencer Anderson, maybe he proves me wrong, but last year when he got opportunities, he didn't really show all that much. So I do not feel comfortable slotting him into a guard spot heading into next year. Then we got one from Tangerine. Says, I saw something that said Darnell Washington might have to retire after another year or 2 because of injuries. Any truth to that? It's hard to know because I don't know, because, he has had a lot of injuries, and he's definitely a big body. If he has another couple of major injuries, it's definitely possible that he's going to have a short career, and he didn't play all that well last year outside of a couple really flashy run-blocking reps. So he's still pretty raw. He showed that last year. But I think that his skill set, if he's going to have success anywhere, it's going to be in an Arthur Smith system where he's going to be allowed to run block a lot. He's going to be able to run. He's going to be able to pull as a tight run blocking tight end, which is going to be scary for opposing defenses. So I'm excited to see what Darnell Washington's going to do. Obviously, there's the possibility that he ends up being just a straight up bust. But with the boom potential with Darnell, I absolutely am excited for his future. So let me know down there in the comments section and predict it. Will Darnell Washington boom or bust with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the National Football League heading into year 2? Type boom if you think he's going to be a success, or type bust if you think he's going to be out of it in a couple of years. Let me go on from Orez. I hope I'm saying that right, my friend. Says, if Mims isn't on the board or JPJ, just take Brian Thomas Jr. or Worthy. So I don't think Worthy's a great fit. I think he's more of just a true burner down the field. And, the Steelers want guys that can run block at the position because that's what Arthur Smith likes. He likes bigger guys that can run block. Worthy is super skinny, all right? So I just don't see him as a fit. Brian Thomas Jr. is interesting, though, because he's that big body, but he has kind of like the same explosive downfield threat ability that Worthy brings to the table. So Brian Thomas Jr., even though I'd rather go offensive line in round 1, if they ended up taking BTJ at number 20 overall, I honestly wouldn't mind it all that much. I think he's a really good player. I think mixing his ability to win down the field with Russell Wilson's deep ball, I just think is going to create even more problems for opposing defenses heading into next year. Make sure you click that like button right now if you haven't already. If you're a real one, really do appreciate all of your guys' support out there. Then we got on from Tamsin Hurd. There we go. It says, what's your thoughts on Roger Rosengarten? Now, Rosengarten is somebody that I had never heard of before the Senior Bowl. And, when I was going over the practice tapes from the Senior Bowl, I saw this right tackle that was just winning a lot of his one-on-one reps. I'm like, who is this guy? And I figured out he's from Washington, and he was pretty damn good, man. And ever since then, he has tested out of the gym, and he has only risen up draft boards, where now he's expected to be a day 2 offensive tackle in this year's class, and there was already a bunch of really good day 2 offensive tackles in this class. So my thoughts on Rosengarten is that the one thing that he needs to improve on is his play strength. He can get bullied with the bull rush at times, and that's definitely something he's going to have to work on, but he's super athletic, all right, and he plays with good technique, really, really smart player. Which is kind of a theme with these Washington Husky tackles. I mean, Troy Fontenot is probably the most intelligent tackle in this class. Rosengarten is similar in that way, and he pairs that with really great athleticism and movement ability. Pretty decent tape, too. I currently have a round 3 grade on Rosengarten. I'd expect him to go there. And if he's available in round 3, you still haven't taken a tackle, I wouldn't mind if the Steelers took him there at the end of day 3, if I'm being honest. Then we got one from Everyman. Says, what are your thoughts on wide receiver Jermaine Burton out of Alabama? Seems like he's the type of guy Tomlin loves at wide receiver. And I think what he means by that is that Burton has off-the-field issues. All right, so kind of similar to George Pickens when he was coming out of Georgia. Everybody was saying he was going to be a problem off the field. And, with the attitude and all this different stuff, and that's kind of reared its ugly head a couple of times in his first 2 seasons. And they got rid of Deontay Johnson because he was a bad influence on George, whatever that means. So does it really make sense that they bring in a guy like Jermaine who also has off-field issues? I don't know. It certainly fits the mold of what the Steelers like in terms of Mike Tomlin. He doesn't care about these off-field issues because he always thinks he can get these guys to focus in. And Burton is the type of guy that reminds me a little bit of Doug Baldwin. All right, he can win deep. He's a really good route runner, very solid hands, can win at the catch point. Really good player. He'd be probably a late first round, early second round guy if he didn't have the off-field issues. But because he has the off-field issues, I'd say he's probably more of a round 3 guy. So if the Steelers go offensive tackle then center in the first 2 picks, number 84, I could absolutely see Jermaine Burton being the pick. Now let me know down there in the comments section, which day 2 wide receiver would you like to see the Pittsburgh Steelers draft? Okay, do you like Troy Franklin? Do you like Roman Wilson? Do you like somebody else? Let me know down there in the comments section, which day 2 wide receiver would you like to see in black and gold next year? That'll be it for this week's mailbag, guys. I really do appreciate everybody that submitted questions. If you're watching this and you're like, man, I really want to get a question on next week's mailbag, all you got to do is click that subscribe button. Join us for our weekly live shows, Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and come join us and get your question on next week's Steelers Talk Mailbag. All right, mailbag is in the book here, Mr. Coop.
Yes, sir. Well, some good questions on that one.
Yeah, that was a good one right there. Lots of specific questions, which I like on there. All right, man. So let's get into these day 2 draft targets because I cannot wait to tell you guys about all these different players that I think the Steelers could be targeting in round 2 and round 3, or at least the guys I would target if I were the Steelers. So going to be talking tackles, centers, cornerbacks, wide receivers, defensive tackles, and safeties today for round 2 and round 3 draft targets. Coop, we ready to get things going here?
Let's do it, brother, man.
All right, man. Let's get into this third one right now. Day 2 draft targets for your Pittsburgh Steelers are coming at you right now. There's lots of talk going around right now about what the Steelers are going to do in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft. We've certainly speculated a lot here on the show about what they're going to do at number 20. But today, I'm going to take some time and go into rounds 2 and 3, which really is where the NFL Draft is won. Finding these gems in round 2 and in round 3 that can make an immediate impact for your football team. Omar Khan did a great job last year getting guys like Joey Porter Jr., Keanu Benton, all these different guys on day 2. I think that he's going to do it again, and today we're going to be breaking down all the top draft targets at all the positions of need for the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into the 2024 NFL Draft when it comes to day 2 of the NFL Draft. Now, make sure you click that subscribe button right now if you haven't already, because we're just getting started with all the premium Steelers Draft content that we're going to be having on the channel here leading up to the big day in Detroit, where the Steelers are going to be taking somebody at number 20 overall in the first round. We got the latest Steelers draft news, going to let you guys know all the players that the Steelers are visiting with, also in-depth scouting reports on all the top Steelers draft targets, positional rankings, all these different things, and also a weekly Steelers mock draft for you guys coming out usually later in the week. It's all 100% free, so if you love the NFL Draft, you love the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is the channel for you. Join the over 50,000 strong here at Steelers Talk by clicking that subscribe button right now. So now, let's start with the team needs that the Steelers are going to have to address in the draft this year. And I think there's 4 that you have to address, and then there's 2 that I think you would like to address, but it's maybe not a huge need. So you got center, offensive tackle, cornerback, and wide receiver. Those 4 things, before the end, or at least going into training camp, you need to have answers at those positions, in my opinion. Then if you get somebody at a defensive tackle or a safety, that's all well and good, all right? That's all things that you can take care of. They would help the football team quite a bit. You need depth at those positions, but I really think center, offensive tackle, corner, and wide receiver are the priorities for the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into rounds 2 and 3. And depending on who they take in round 1, you can probably mix and match, get rid of one of these needs, but that's what we're looking at right now. So let's start with the center position, because we've already gone over the centers in a video here on Steelers Talk where I break down my rankings for the center position here. I got Jackson Powers-Johnson, number 1, Graham Barton, number 2. Both those guys, I think, could go round 1 based on their tape. Zach Frazier, Cedric Van Pran are guys that I would take in round 2. Good players there. Bo Limmer as kind of like an emergency option. Think he can play right away in the National Football League. I would draft him in round 3. If you want more in-depth scouting reports on all the top centers, we actually did a video earlier on Steelers Talk on the top center draft targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm going to put the link to that one in the comments and description of today's show. So now let's move on to offensive tackles here, because it's a very interesting offensive tackle class. And there's lots of good players. There's some developmental type players that could be good down the line. There's some kind of lower upside guys that could be starting right away. And if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm looking for somebody that can start right away. I don't trust Dan Moore Jr. to start anymore. Broderick Jones, he could play either on the right or left side. I don't really care whether they're a left tackle or a right tackle. What I want is somebody that can survive as a starting tackle in the National Football League from day 1. So let's start in round 2 here, where most of the good guys that I would really want to go get are in round 1, but these are some guys that could be available in round 2 that I would be okay with the Steelers going out and getting. J.C. Latham, lots of people are really high on Latham. And he might even go round 1 here, but if he falls to round 2, that's where I would probably take him. I don't think he has the best lateral agility in the world. He's got good size, all these different things, but I think he's probably more of a guard in the National Football League, and I think he should go in round 2 personally. Then we got Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. I think he's going to be kind of a low upside, high floor type of left tackle. Really smart player, really good with his hand placement, all these different things. I think that he could be a day 1 left tackle in the league. And then Blake Fisher, really good film from Notre Dame on the right side. So if you want to move Broderick Jones over to the left, where he played in college, Blake Fisher, I think, is somebody that can play in the league right away at right tackle. But then if you don't get any of these guys in round 2, in round 3, if Blake Fisher is still there in round 3, I think that'd be a fantastic value. If he's not there, Christian Jones out of Texas is a really good talent, in my opinion, had arguably the best week at the Senior Bowl this year in Mobile, Alabama. Was really impressed with his ability to win in the one-on-one situations. Roger Rosengarten from Washington, great athlete, would be a really good fit in this offense with Arthur Smith, with how much wide zone we're going to be running here in the years to come. So really like his athleticism, but he needs to get stronger in terms of his play strength, can get bullied against the bull rush. And then Javon Foster from Missouri is somebody that I'm a big fan of. I'm higher on Foster than some of the other people. I think he's kind of like Jordan Morgan, where he's a lower end, kind of lower upside, higher floor kind of guy, plays with good technique, but he's limited in terms of his athletic ability. So now you be the GM down there in the comments section. Should the Pittsburgh Steelers take an offensive tackle in round 1 this year? I certainly think so. I think that's where all the great value picks are this year. And if you're really going to want to prioritize the run on offense this year, you better beef up on the offensive line. I'd go get a tackle round 1, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Yes or no down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or a no. So now let's go on to the cornerbacks here. Well, there's lots of good cornerbacks. I wouldn't say there's a lot of high-end talents in this draft class, but there's no doubt about it, man. The Steelers need at least one corner in this draft. They might even need to draft 2, all right? Because you got Joey Porter Jr., he's a stud. Dante Jackson is kind of like your stopgap corner here, can maybe move to the slot if he needs to. Corey Trice Jr. Is kind of a roll of the dice here, coming off that injury. Of course, he's a 7th-round pick, but he's got super freaky athletic ability and long arms, good strength. Darius Rush is another guy that was taken last year who's young and fast and big. So maybe one of those guys turns up for you next year, but you want to be more surprised and pleasantly surprised by those guys. So I do think that the Steelers need to get a cornerback very early in this draft. So let's start with round 2 here. Kool-Aid McKinstry is somebody I have a true first-round grade on, but because of the foot issues that he's had, it's definitely possible that he falls to the top of round 2. So if you want to trade up for a corner, Kool-Aid McKinstry at the top of round 2 is probably the guy. Other than that, Renardo Green from Florida State, one of the best press man corners in this year's draft class, in my opinion. He's a day 1, number 2 starting corner. That's exactly what the Steelers need in this type of defense. Mike Sanastrill out of Michigan, probably the best slot defender in this draft, maybe besides Cooper DeJean and Terrion Arnold. But Sanastrill, really good player, man. Great blitzer. I think he'd be a perfect fit in the Steelers defense from the slot. And then Andrew Phillips from Kentucky, kind of a little bit of a tweener here in between slot and outside corner. He can play either. He's a little bit smaller, but plays with great instincts and is really good in coverage. Then in round 3, if Renardo or Andrew Phillips falls to you here in round 3, I would absolutely go with either one of them. They are projected to be 3rd-round picks per Pro Football Focus right now, so that might be the value picks right there. Kalen Carson from Wake Forest, really good player. In terms of his film and in terms of his physical attributes, he looks like an NFL corner on film. Could be a day 1, number 2 guy. Ennis Rakestraw out of Missouri is a little bit higher on other people's list, but I don't love the physical attributes. I think he has good tape. He plays with really good technique, both in zone and in man. But I think he's more of a number 2 guy out of the box. Then Kyrie Jackson, big physical type corner. That's going to probably go on day 3 here, or not day 3, round 3 here. TJ Tampa, long arms, not the best physical profile in the world, but like his game, very physical, fits what the Steelers like to do. And then I hope I'm saying this right. DeCamerion Richardson from Mississippi State. I think I nailed that. His name is super tiny in our box there because it's Mississippi State mixed with that long name. But man, he's got awesome physical tools. He's going to probably take a year to develop, but really like his skill set. Then Max Melton out of Rutgers. He had a top 30 visit with the Steelers, I believe last week. Can play either outside or inside, kind of like an Andrew Phillips light. Now coming up here, my top day 2 wide receiver draft targets here on day 2. But before I get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. If you're somebody like me and like to get tickets last minute, I mean, the Pirates are doing damn good right now, man. PNC Park, voted number 1 ballpark in America. You can get a great price on some awesome tickets to PNC Park right now and watch those red-hot Pirates play some baseball right now when you download the Game Time app today. Shout out to Game Time, man, because they sent me to PNC Park last August. It was absolutely a fantastic experience. Definitely going to go back this summer to watch some Pirates baseball. Game Time is the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States of America and is the only ticketing app on the market that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can see the view from your seat before you buy the tickets, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive at the ballpark, stadium, or arena. And tickets are also sent directly to your phone instead of your email. Another great feature that Game Time provides for their users. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets now with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So now let's talk wide receivers here, because even though I think the Steelers may be looking to trade for a bigger name wide receiver like a Brandon Ayuk before the draft, if they aren't able to get something done, they absolutely need to get a legit number 2 wide receiver that's ready to go right out of the box heading into the 2024 season. So they'll probably have to spend a 2nd or 3rd round pick. If Xavier Legette or Adonai Mitchell somehow fall into the second round, those are guys that I'd be willing to trade up for in the early part of round 2 if I were Omar Khan. Both of them are perfect fits for this system. And even though I don't think either one of them is going to be available at the top of round 2, if they are, go out and get them. But now, pick number 51. I would go Ricky Pearsall out of Florida, can play slot, can play outside, great route runner, really physical as a run blocker, really love his mentality. Then Roman Wilson out of Michigan, very similar. Might be a slot only, but he played damn good on the outside at the Senior Bowl week, man. Really reliable hands, great route runner, and he has a personal relationship with Mike Tomlin that goes back to high school. Then in round 3, there's some more people here that I would consider. Roman Wilson, if he falls to round 3, which is possible, I think he'd be a fantastic value. Jermaine Burton out of Alabama, big-time talent, but some off-the-field issues. Tell me if you've heard that one before, Steelers fans, when it comes to the wide receiver position. Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky is going to be a yak machine in the league. Not the best route runner, though. Javon Baker out of UCF, going to be a really solid number 2 receiver for someone right away, in my opinion. Keon Coleman out of Florida State, big body, good run blocker, good after the catch. You know, he doesn't have the best long speed in the world, but he has great hands. He's a red zone threat. Really like Coleman's game in the round 3. And then Malik Washington, one of the best slot receivers in this class. I think, you know, he's almost 200 pounds despite being, I think he's like 5'9". Super small guy, but he gets the job done in the run game, and he was 3rd in the NCAA in yards after the catch in 2023. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon right now if you haven't already. If you are a real one, you watch all of our shows, you support the channel, make sure you click that thumbs up icon because it really does help out the show. It pushes this video out to more Steelers fans like yourselves. So tell the YouTube algorithm that you like the show by clicking that thumbs up icon right now. So now let's go over defensive tackle and safety because these are 2 positions that I think the Steelers may want to add a player and kind of help them out. But I don't think it's a major priority like the 4 other positions that we've talked about earlier today. And I would not consider using a draft pick in rounds 1 or 2 on a defensive tackle or a safety. But in round 3, if the right guy falls to you, I would potentially think about it. So most of these guys on these 2 lists are probably going to not be here in round 3. But if they are, they're definitely players that I would consider going out and getting if I were GM Omar Khan. So let's start with the defensive tackles. Dwayne Carter out of Duke. Right now, he is outside of the top 100 prospects on the Pro Football Focus big board. I think he's a lot better than that. So if he falls to you in round 3, very explosive guy, lots of great physical traits. I think Mike Tomlin would absolutely love that. Michael Hall Jr. out of Ohio State, a true pass rusher, a little bit undersized, but could be a replacement for Larry Ogunjobi moving forward. Aruk Orohoro from Clemson, similar. He's got great athletic traits, but needs some development. Same thing with Braden Fisk out of Florida State, and also the same thing with Chris Jenkins out of Michigan. So if any of these guys are there in round 3, I think you can think about it depending on what players are available at other positions. Then you get to the safeties here. I love Tyke Smith out of Georgia, and I actually love Javon Bullard out of Georgia as well. Javon is somebody that's kind of highly regarded among NFL people. PFF has him ranked higher, but I actually like Tyke Smith a bit better as a strong safety. He plays super instinctual, great tackler in open space, really good in coverage. I like Tyke Smith better than pretty much any other safety in this year's class, and that's something I'm planting my flag on. But also Tyler Nubin from Minnesota brings great versatility. Kalen Bullock out of USC is going to be more of a true free safety. And then Dadrian Taylor Demerson from Texas Tech as a free safety. Really explosive player and athlete, in my opinion. And the reason why you'd get a safety, guys, is you could maybe move Minkah Fitzpatrick to more of like a nickel star position, allow him to roam in the middle of the defense, read the quarterback's eyes, and make plays. We talked about it in our video regarding a potential Justin Simmons signing, where getting another safety to add to this 3-safety rotation could really open up Minkah Fitzpatrick to do Minkah Fitzpatrick things. So if the Steelers can get a really good 3rd safety in this class, that's definitely something I would consider adding if I were the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, shout out your guy down there in the comments section. Which day 2 draft prospect or prospects do you want the Steelers to take in this year's NFL draft? You heard my take today. Let me know your take down there in the comments section. Now, for more content on the Pittsburgh Steelers, NFL draft stuff, etc., you can find me on X at Jack_Sperry, and you can find me on Instagram at sparedog.football. That'll be it for today's show, guys. I appreciate all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now for more in-depth premium, extensive Steelers draft coverage all throughout the 2024 offseason. All right, 3 down, 1 to go.
Uno mas.
I see Tamsin says he wants Sainristil and Pearsall on day 2. I would love to get those
That'd
two
be
guys.
awesome.
The only thing is, I think both of them are going in round 2.
Yeah. At best, you can get one. At best.
I mean, unless you trade up, but
Right.
then you're probably ignoring center or offensive tackle, and that's not something I'm willing to do. So I would love to get either one of those guys. Sainristil is like Mike. It's kind of like Mike Hilton, man. Like the slot corner extraordinaire, great blitzer, good tackler, really sticky in coverage. I think he's an awesome player, man. I think he'd be great in the slot. And then Ricky Pearsall just plays like a dickhead, man. Like, you know this, being a Florida fan. Like
he's a beast.
Like the dude, first of all, he made the best catch I've ever seen in my life. That one-handed catch that he had, Coop, at Florida.
It's one of the best catches I've ever seen.
Probably the best catch I've ever seen in my life. No, it's not like he's making those kinds of catches every week, but he's a really good route runner. He gets open all the time. Like, if you're looking for, somebody that could just provide value, as a run blocker, as somebody that can get open, as somebody that can make contested catches, I think he's a borderline round 1 guy. I'm that high on him. And if the Steelers could get him at 51, that'd be one hell of a value to me. So we still got my latest Steelers mock draft coming up here.
We just got a couple of supers to catch up on here.
All right, we got some super chats to get to here. For a $1 super chat from Jonathan, first time super chatter. Let's give him some Ric Flair drip. Woo! And we got a $10 super chat from Anthony.
Oh, hang on.
Baller. Let's go, baby. Gold Club member right here. King Yinzer, we are not worthy. We are not worthy. Then we got $10 super chat from Maryland. A Black Diamond member here. $10.
Shout out.
Shout out to Maryland. She's always showing up for us here at Steelers Nation. Is that it?
That is it.
So, okay. So right now, Damien. I don't know.
Yeah. You were thinking of Taylor Jefferson.
Yeah, I thought of the draft prospect. So right now, Damian Roy is in the lead for today's special promotion. If you want to show that player L3 one more time, Coop. So we're doing a promotion today. Whoever super chats the most is going to be able to pick a segment that we do on the show next week. All right, so we'll talk about whatever you want. If you want to talk about sleepers, if you want me to do another mock draft, if you want to talk about whatever the case may be, if you want to talk about Corey Trice Jr., we'll talk about Corey Trice Jr. on the show.
He's a beast.
So right now, Damian Roy is in the lead with $15. There's a couple people with 10. I think Just Webb's World is at 10. Maryland is at 10. Anthony Fuller is at 10.
Correct.
So, I mean, just another 10 from those guys, and you guys take the lead. All right? So just keep that in mind. And if you haven't super chatted yet, right now a $20 super chat puts you in the lead. So not only do you get your name on the helmet, but you also take the lead for today's MVP, and you get to choose a segment that we do on the show next week. All right, man.
Let's do it.
Let's get it going right now. My last segment today, Steelers Mock Draft 7.0, coming at you right now. It's my latest Steelers mock draft right here on Steelers Talk. And today I got some pretty interesting picks. In round 1, I'm taking somebody that I haven't taken yet in any of my previous Steelers mock drafts. So before I reveal who I'm taking in round 1 here, do me a favor. Click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already, because my bosses tell me that we can do a fan-led mock draft on next week's Steelers Talk Live if we can get to 500 likes on today's video. All right, so click that thumbs up icon. If we can get 500 thumbs up, we're going to be doing a fan-led mock draft on next week's Steelers Talk Live show. So now, let's get into my round 1 selection here, where I'm going to be taking Troy Fontenot, offensive tackle from Washington. He had a top 30 visit with the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. They've shown a lot of interest in Fontenot throughout this process, and if he's here at number 20, I absolutely think this would be a slam dunk home run pick for the black and gold. I currently have him ranked as my number 3 offensive tackle in this class, above guys like Amarius Mims and Talise Fuanga, and the only guys I have above him are Joe Alt and Alou Fashanu. Okay, so I love Fontenot's game. I think that he's super intelligent. I think he does a lot of great things in his game, and I think he's super, super polished and ready to be a franchise left tackle from the word go in the National Football League. And another benefit to this is that Broderick Jones can stay on the right side where he played so well last year, man. And I know that Omar Khan has said we want to move Broderick over to the left side eventually. And I understand that. That's where he played in college. He played really well there in college. But, man, when he came in at right tackle to replace Chukwuma Okorafor in the middle of last season, it completely changed the Steelers' run game. And if you look at Broderick's profile, he's somebody that's a mauling run blocker who struggles a little bit in pass protection. That sounds a lot to me like a right tackle in the National Football League. If you put him on the left side, maybe some of those deficiencies as a pass protector kind of show themselves, and that's not something I'm willing to risk. So if Troy Fontenot is here from Washington at number 20, I think that he would be awesome as a left tackle, and then Broderick Jones can be that mauling, run-blocking right tackle that he was towards the end of last season for the black and gold. And then I think that your offensive line is just a center away from being something that's going to be really, really good for the next 5 to 10 years. Now, what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Would you be happy with Troy Fontenot from Washington in round 1 at number 20? Type H if you would be happy, or type M if you would be mad. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Then in round 2, all right, some people might be saying, Jack, there's no way he gets here to number 51, but it's Jackson Powers Johnson, center out of Oregon. Now, the reason why Jackson Powers Johnson is falling down draft boards right now is because teams are concerned with the concussion issues that he's had in the past there with the Oregon Ducks. All right, he is somebody that's had a number of concussions. And listen, man, JPJ plays a position where he is always getting his head hit. I mean, nobody gets their head hit more than the center on that NFL football field. And if you're a guy with a history of concussions, that is a major red flag if you play the center position. Now, Jackson Powers Johnson is excellent on film. Just based on the film alone, he is the number 1 center in this class, in my opinion. All right, plain and simply. I have him ranked above Graham Barton out of Duke, and I love that guy. All right, I have a round 1 grade on him as well. But Jackson Powers Johnson, I think if he didn't have the various injury issues with the concussion issue, he'd probably be a bona fide first-round pick. But because people are concerned that concussions are going to be a major red flag for him as he enters the National Football League, it's looking more and more like he's going to fall to round 2. And if he falls to number 51 to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and even if the Steelers want to trade up a couple of spots to make sure they get him, it is absolutely worth the risk to me, because he is somebody that when he's on the field, he's like a perfect fit for what Arthur Smith wants in a center. He's massively athletic. He has a bunch of power. He plays with great technique, both in run blocking and in pass protection. He is somebody that's ready to play right away, and if he stays on the field, he's going to be menacing, all right? So at number 51, this is worth the risk to me, somebody that can really take this offensive line to the next level. Many Steelers fans, before this injury concern really came up, were saying, let's take him in round 1, so you're getting a round 1 center here in round 2. So coming up here, rounds 3 through 7 for the Pittsburgh Steelers in my latest mock draft for the black and gold. But before I get into my picks for rounds 3 through 7 today, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at Prize Picks. And Prize Picks is awesome, man. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS right now, or download the Prize Picks app and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. Prize Picks has specials for new and returning users alike for the start of the MLB season. When you head on over to prizepicks.com/CLNS or download the Prize Picks app today. Football season is over, but the action on the diamond is just heating up. You can get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your baseball knowledge into serious cash. That is, if you know ball. The 2024 MLB season is now off and running, and you can pick more than or less than right now when you make some money from the comfort of your couch while you watch your favorite team play. Prize Picks is super simple to play, guys. All you do is you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can get started now, if you haven't already, at prizepicks.com/CLNS and get a first-time deposit match up to $100 today when you use our code CLNS. You can also download the Prize Picks app today. for the same deal. Pick more or pick less. It's that easy with our friends at Prize Picks. Then here in round 3, we still need to get a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm going to take Malachi Corley, wide receiver out of Western Kentucky. Now, this guy is being compared to Deebo Samuel, but I actually think he's more translatable to a Rashee Rice. All right, somebody that's not going to be a stellar route runner for you. He's not going to win in the intermediate parts of the field or even deep as a route runner, but he's somebody that if you get the ball in his hands in open space, on a drag route, on a slant route, even on a deep crosser, this guy has the potential to take things to the house and F stuff up for the opposing defense, all right? So he's a bigger body. He's going to be a good run blocker. He can play either outside or in the slot. So he's got that versatility that you're looking for. I think he's somebody that George Pickens is going to be your intermediate and deep threat. Quez Watkins and Van Jefferson are going to be more your true deep threats. And then Malachi Corley is going to be your short yardage and yak kind of machine. So that's where I'm kind of going with this pick here. Malachi Corley, they've shown some interest in Deebo Samuel in the past. Shows that they might like a guy like this that can get this yak, can be a gadget guy as well. Really like this pick in round 3. Then also in round 3, I have the Steelers taking cornerback out of Kentucky, Andrew Phillips, who's a bit undersized, but he's got some nice versatility. He can play either in the slot or outside, and he's got great tenacity, man. Great instincts, can really, especially in zone, he can read the eyes of the quarterback extremely well. He's got good ball skills, good athlete. I wouldn't say elite athlete, but really good short area quick. So whether you want to put him on the outside, you want to put him in the slot, whatever you want to do with him, I think he's going to be a perfect fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers, plus super physical player, and I know Mike Tomlin loves that in his DBs. Then in round 4, a player that the Steelers have shown a lot of interest in is Mason Smith, defensive tackle out of LSU. He's got a great physical profile, and Mike Tomlin likes to say, man, it's all about pedigree when it comes to these players, and then it's up to the coaches to get their potential out of them. So he's somebody that is big time on the traits. He believes in these guys, and Mason Smith is certainly somebody that if he develops can be a real presence on the interior of the defensive line for this football team. Steelers have shown a ton of interest in him. If he's here at number 119, I think he's going to be the pick. Then in round 6, we go all the way to round 6 here. Inside linebacker Cedric Gray out of UNC. Super physical and athletic inside linebacker who still has a little ways to go in terms of his development. Inside linebacker is a really difficult position to play in today's era of football, but he's got the physical tools that you look for an every down inside linebacker. So with Cole Holcomb's future kind of uncertain, we'll say, I think getting a guy like Cedric Gray who could really grow into at least a rotational role to start and then go into a full-time starting position in the future, I think is a good investment for the Steelers. Then also in round 6, one of my sleepers here, so the story on Jalen Coker is I've been going through all of the different players and watching their film throughout this process, and, once you get to the 6th round, 7th round guys, it starts to get a little boring. This guy stinks, this guy stinks, this guy stinks. And all of a sudden, I get my hands on Holy Cross film with Jalen Coker, and I'm like, who is this guy? Because this guy is fast, he is shifty, he's 6'3". This guy can freaking move, and he's got a pretty nice route running skill set. And I definitely think he's somebody that when he gets NFL level coaching, he's somebody that could absolutely be a starting wide receiver in the National Football League, and he's somebody that could be a legitimate number 2 option someday to George Pickens with Malachi Corley in the slot or whatever the case you want to make there. Because right now, I think that you could certainly like to add another wide receiver towards the end of the draft here. And Jalen Coker, man, he's one of my Sperry psychos this year. He's a sleeper for me. I think that he is somebody that could absolutely develop into something legit in the National Football League. He's somebody to definitely keep your eye on throughout this process. So here's my mock draft haul here for the Steelers, my 7.0 version. Troy Fontenot in round 1. Jackson Powers Johnson falls to round 2. Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky in round 3. Andrew Phillips, cornerback from Kentucky, can start right away. Also in round 3, Mason Smith in round 4, and then Cedric Gray and Jalen Coker, one of my favorite sleeper wide receivers in this year's draft, in round 6. So grade my mock draft for me down there in the comment section, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you're feeling about this week's mock. And if you want more NFL draft or just Steelers content in general, I also put up channel updates on my Twitter and on my Instagram, so you can check that out at Jack_Sperry and at SpareDog.football on Instagram. I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because we got way more Steelers draft content coming your way leading up to the big day in Detroit here in a couple of weeks. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now to never miss a thing. Oh!
Let's go!
Jonathan Goshorn takes the lead with a $20 super chat. Oh no! Jason how am I saying this? Domitrovich, first time super chatter with a $20 super chat, says, would you double dip on wide receiver in this year's draft? FYI, Fontenot played left tackle with a lefty QB. Just saying, that is true. That
is true.
But it's still left tackle.
He played with Michael Penix.
Yes, he did play with Michael Penix. But I mean, the left side is the left side too.
Yes, it is.
It's not his blind side.
It changes for the quarterback, not really for the line.
Yeah, so like, but here's the thing though, man. Like between him and Rosengarten, Rosengarten is like the lighter guy.
Yeah.
So it is interesting. So Fontenot could play right tackle.
He could, and then you move Broderick to left.
But honestly, like, I still think Fontenot is a bit too light to play right tackle in the league.
Yeah.
He's still a bit light to me. I think he's more of a true left tackle because the biggest knock on him is that he's not the biggest guy. So
right.
like if you're expecting him to go over to the right side and be like a traditional, run mauling type right tackle, I think Broderick Jones is more fit to play that role, personally.
Yeah, I could see that. I just really like Broderick on the right side. I know the Steelers eventually want to move him to the left.
That's what they say, but they also said they wanted to bring back Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett.
Right.
So,
yeah.
so who
we'll
knows?
see.
So who knows?
We'll see.
Yep.
So Jonathan Goshorn has him beat by 1 cent.
So let's start a 5-minute shot clock here.
5 minutes.
5-minute shot clock. Whoever has the most in super chats by that point is going to be able to pick a segment that we do next week on Steelers Talk Live.
I really have to go to the bathroom, so 5 minutes is all you get.
5 minutes is all we get because Coop has to go potty.
I do.
Right?
I have to go pee-pee.
Jesus Christ.
Elliptic 6 says, sorry I'm late. Who's winning? Well, $20. Jonathan Goshorn. Excuse me.
Jonathan Goshorn with 21, right? Because he had the $1?
He has one. Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, correct. Jonathan Goshorn is 21.
So right now, $25 gets you in the lead. $50 will put you firmly in the lead, plus we'll slap Coop with a tortilla.
Or Sperry.
Whichever one you want.
Pick a segment. Jonathan, let us know right now what segment you want because you're in the lead at the moment.
So Jonathan, let us know, man. Get that shot clock going.
Oh, it's going.
I don't see it.
It's on my phone.
Well, put it on the screen so that people can see it.
Well, guess what? I already have it going, so how about that?
Well, how about you get it on the screen so people can actually see it?
But now it's already going, so it's too late.
Well, start it again.
I'll tell them.
Start it again.
We have 3 minutes and 32 seconds remaining.
Start it again.
No.
Yes.
No.
Jesus.
Buddy Bear said, if I didn't have this Zoom call, I would wreck things right now. Okay, Buddy Bear.
Buddy Bear showing up here.
Let us know.
Right now, $21. Can you put up the player L3 real quick?
The player L3 will be put up.
Right now, Jonathan Goshorn is leading. Elliptic 6 says pump the clock. What does pump the clock mean? Does that mean like raise the amount of time?
No.
Because whoever puts in the most in super chats today gets to pick a topic that we do next week.
We've got 2 minutes remaining.
2 minutes remaining. Right now, Jonathan Goshorn is leading with $21.
We'll give some time to refresh once the clock ends, because we know YouTube likes to delay.
Who's it going to be, man? Jonathan Goshorn?
I think Sixers coming in late.
Is Elliptic 6 going to be coming in here? By the way, Jonathan, you can send in more and kind of cushion your lead if you want, because Elliptic 6 might be looking to snipe here.
Sixer. I have a feeling it's going to be Sixer.
We'll see. How much time? Minute 30?
We got 1 minute and 30 left.
Coop is a fraud and didn't put it on screen.
Oh!
Pittsburgh fan with a $50 super chat. He doesn't even care about picking. He just wants Coop to get slapped.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. So we'll give it to Jonathan Goshorn if nobody else beats him. So $21 is still the number to beat.
Yes, 1 minute left.
So Elliptic 6 says he was just about to drop 25. If you do it right now, you'll win.
Let's go, baby.
And Jonathan, can we put up another 3 minutes?
We'll put up a 3 minutes.
3 more minutes. Can we do it on the actual?
Oh!
Jonathan Goshorn takes the lead.
Let's go!
With a $50 super chat. And he says, my wife said, do it. Let's go.
Shout out to your wife.
So let's just put 1 minute on the clock.
1 minute.
1 minute. If someone sends in a $100 super chat, then that's the only number. It has to be 100. But right now we got 2 slaps coming before Coop has to go to the bathroom.
Jonathan, let us know who you want to get slapped.
Yeah, Jonathan and Pittsburgh fan, let us know who you want to get slapped. I'm guessing, well, Pittsburgh fan already said
He already
you.
said me, yes.
So Jonathan says, she says thanks.
Let's go.
Jonathan, who do you want to slap? Or who does your wife want to slap?
Oh!
No way! Jason, this one's coming in from Jason Dimitrovich. Bang!
No way!
He says spank the Coop. Oh, man.
Let's go.
Jason.
That's it.
You are the newest member of Steelers Talk Gold Club. Let's give it up for Jason. Let's go. By the way, Jonathan, you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to allow both of them to pick a segment.
Sounds good to me.
I'm gonna allow both of them to pick a segment, all right? Because they both deserve it. Jason, newest member of Steelers Talk Gold Club. Let me just say, so Jonathan, how much is Jonathan at right now? How close is he to
71.
He's at 71. So Jonathan is $30 away from Gold Club. Just gonna throw that out there, Jonathan. So can you put up my Twitter and Instagram here? So Jason and Jonathan, go give me a follow on X or Instagram if you haven't already. Send me a DM, and we'll talk about what segment you guys want to see on the show next week. So, Elliptic 6 wants Jonathan to join Gold Club. He wants Jonathan to join Gold Club. $30 away. Lifetime membership.
Oh, no.
All right, Coop, are you going to the bathroom first here? Nope. Before the slaps? No? Okay. So how many slaps do we got? We got 4 slaps.
Yeah.
4 slaps. Take the hoodie off.
Nope.
Take the hoodie off.
Nope.
Take it off.
Nope.
Jesus. There's 1, 2.
Do not slap me that hard.
That one didn't come. All right, one more.
Let's go! Here we go, Steelers! Here we go!
Here we go, Steelers! Here we go! Here we go, Steelers! Here we go! Let's go, baby! Oh, I see Fernando. He's rolling around. Fernando is lurking. He says, welcome to the club, Jason. Let's go, baby. Fernando, do you want to add to the pile here? $50 super chat. We'll slap him again. Come on now. Come on, Fernando. Join the slap club today. All right, we're gonna get Fernando. And Marilyn's saying, come on, Jonathan. There's a lot of people that want Jonathan to join Gold Club. $30. Everyone's going, Jonathan. 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 Come on, baby. 1 minute and counting here, and then we're going to say goodbye unless we get a 50. Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of Steelers Talk Gold Club, Jonathan Goshorn.
It's Buddy Bear!
It's Buddy Bear! Let's go!
Oh, Buddy Bear!
Let's go, baby! Jonathan Goshorn with a $50 super chat to join Gold Club for life.
Here we go,
Steelers!
Steelers!
Here we go! Here we go, Steelers! Here we go! Here we go, Steelers! Here we go! Let's go, Jonathan!
Jonathan,
Yes!
let us know who you want to get slapped. Let us know.
I think we all know who they want to get slapped, Coop.
He said the wife told me to do it. What if I didn't agree to these slaps? What would you do?
I mean, I don't think you have a... So Elliptic 6 says he wants me to get slapped.
My body, my choice.
No, Coop. So Elliptic 6...
Are you saying no?
Elliptic, what are we doing here, man? He's saying slap Sperry. What is this?
He deserves it.
No, I don't.
You do.
You do. Because you wouldn't take your hood off. You deserve to get slapped again.
I don't.
Jonathan says slap the Coop. Let's go. Let's go. So Damian Roy, man. Shout out to Damian Roy. He was leading.
He got us going.
He got us going. He was leading for most of this. Damian, you know we love you, man. You're the best. Jason and Jonathan adding 2 new members to Gold Club today, baby.
Oh, no.
Let's go. Why oh no?
I almost tripped on my cord.
Oh, okay. I got him right on the chin, folks. I got him right. Where did I get it? Where did I get? I thought I got you like right in the neck. Oh my gosh. Okay, man. Absolutely fantastic. Great end to the show here. Jonathan and Jason, we'll be in touch here. Make sure you send me a DM either on my Twitter or on my Instagram. We'll figure it out what segments you guys want to talk about next week. We'll be in touch here, all right? So really do appreciate you for the last time today, baby. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. All right, until next time, that's Coop. I'm Mr. Jack Sperry.
Adios.
Until next